This podcast is brought to you by People's Food Co-op, a community-owned grocery store in downtown La Crosse, Wisconsin and Rochester, Minnesota, that promotes local farmers and producers through an emphasis on fresh, healthy, sustainable food. Anyone can shop. Everyone is welcome. For more information, visit them online at pfc.coop. This podcast is also brought to you by Trempealeau County Tourism. Whether your idea of fun is bicycling, hiking, or canoeing, afterwards head into the heart of one of their welcoming communities to experience historic architecture, independent shops, and locally owned dining establishments. Visit Trempealeau County Tourism online. The Great River Shakespeare Festival is running now through July 31st, featuring Twelfth Night, and the African Company presents Richard III and more at Minnesota's premier Shakespeare Festival in Winona, Minnesota. Buy tickets online at grsf.org. Great River, great drama. We talked with Georgina Kingsley, an artist from Dresbach, Minnesota, who also has EATT Dried Goods. She produces and sells seasonal dried herbs, mushrooms, teas, and decorative goods, all locally sourced and organically grown. You can find more conversations, food reviews, live music, and events on our website, lacrosselocal.com. I'm Amy.
And I'm Brent.
And this is La Crosse Local.
My name is Georgina Kingsley. I was born in Dorset, England. I moved to America 15 years ago. I got into painting because of my parents, ultimately. I'm a creative spirit, but my dad is an engineer and loves technical drawing. And my mother is a pen and ink artist, illustrator, and she was also my elementary art teacher. So she had huge influences on me. Growing up, she had some mental health issues that led her to an art therapy session. As a child, seeing the miraculous therapy and healing that provided for her, that really inspired me on how that can release things inside you. So I used that as a child to communicate my own issues and mental health issues. Went on to study BA in fine art painting. And I suppose here I am now, 20 years later, still painting.
Kind of reference your folks as being influences. Is there any artists or music that kind of influence you as well?
Influences for my work are definitely nature, landscape, and music. When I'm painting generally with music in the background. I'm very much into my European dance music, which might sound a little crazy for some people, but that can be quite mellow and very meditative. I'm also a big fan of singing bowls, drums, those kind of things. They help me focus. I get into a zone. In terms of artists that influence me, Miro, for sure. I love the quirkiness, the expression, the out there kind of things. And I struggle putting that into my art. So I suppose I admire artists that create what I'm not quite confident enough to do, to push me.
For people who've never seen your work before, how would you explain it?
Abstract landscape is probably the simplest term. I paint in oil paints. I use them very thickly, so there's a lot of texture. I'm really into color, so generally there'll only be 2 or 3 main colors within a painting and just 1,000 tones coming off that one main feature color. Again, that's just to express the emotions and the spiritual connection behind my artwork.
How do you work? I mean, do you work fast? Do you work on multiple pieces, or is it something that's, comes to you, a little bit slower, or what's that process like?
Generally, as I've become more disciplined, it varies by the size of the painting. If I'm working on something very large, I know to just focus on that, maybe do a couple of layers, set it aside and go to something else. But I do really enjoy working with series type art. So I'll get 4 to 12 pieces of canvases together that are generally smaller. And that allows me to experiment on each one, but each one has some kind of connection.
I know of you basically from your painting work, but you also have EATT Dried Goods, which is something that I got recently introduced. It's basically, well, you explain it, but anyways, it seems like there's some sort of connection between your sort of natural painting and this EATT Dried Goods as well.
For sure. A lot of my paintings come from while I'm walking and exploring. I have 4 dogs. We have some acreage with some woods. We love to forage. We love to eat and supply our lifestyle from the land. So as I'm doing my gardening, as I'm picking mushrooms, as we're hiking and chopping down trees, all of those things become my influence to my painting. Whether it's a moment of the sunshine shining through the trees or the sunrise over the frozen water we can see in the distance, it's all integrated. Both elements feed my soul, and I feel like they work together as a business concept too.
What kind of products do you have? Do you have seasonal pieces, or is there something that you have all year round? Or, I know there's a lot of herbs and teas and that sort of stuff. What are some of your, your main go-tos?
The majority of the product we dry is grown spring through to summer. So right now, morel season is about to happen, and that's probably our top selling item. Everybody loves a morel when they're fresh from the ground, but come Christmas time, they can't believe that we still have some dehydrated ones that they can then rehydrate and enjoy. Huh. And then from that, we go to nuts. We have walnuts, hickory nuts. And then in terms of actually gardening and producing, then we'll look into more culinary type herbs or things that people can use in homemade cosmetics. But in general, we try to stick with native plant types when it comes to the dried items.
So for EATT Dried Goods, where can people pick that up? Do they connect with you directly, or how does that work?
They can connect directly. I generally use social media, Facebook and Instagram, to advertise the items. Obviously, the items we have a limited stock. So generally, we're either pre-selling wholesale or people are like, hey, shoot me up when you've got some morels in. So I would say generally, if you're interested, follow the post, see what we've got in stock, what's currently drying and ready to be sold. And then we do about 3 to 4 events a year, generally in the La Crosse area. So the local craft and farmers markets is another place you can find us.
Is that also where you sell your paintings as well? Or is there another avenue for people to check out to find those?
I'm a lot shyer and more private about my paintings. Not sure why, working on that. Started an Instagram late 2021, so I'm a little late to the game. But I have found selling on social media has been great. That's where all of the finished artwork, ready to go pieces are. There are prices on there. Sizes are available, and we'll customize the shipping options depending on where you live. And then locally, I have been in a couple of art exhibitions, and this year I will be starting the art fair kind of community with the Driftless Areas Arts Festival down in Soldiers Grove this August. So that will be my first proper launch to the public. Hey, here I am, paintings and all.
What's next for you, either with EATT Dried Goods or your paintings? Is there anything coming down the road that you're excited for?
EATT Dried Goods is getting very exciting because we recently just purchased the land that we've been foraging off in the last few years. So we get to really focus on the things we want to grow, gaining access to maybe pockets of the forest we haven't got to before because of invasive species. So that's going to be fun. And then moving forward with my artwork, again, as I said, I'm trying to expose myself a little more to the public and get myself out there. So I'm hoping to make more, show more, and tell more.
Looks like, EATT Dried Goods, EATT with 2 T's, Dried Goods on Facebook. So yes. on Instagram for your painting, what do people look up for that? What's your
it would be my initials, GK Fine Art Paintings.
La Crosse Local Podcast is a production of River Travel Media. Do you have an interview idea you'd like to share with us? Message us on Facebook at La Crosse Local. Find out more about us at lacrosselocal.com, and you can subscribe to the La Crosse Local Podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like us, rate us 5 stars. We appreciate it.